The last ride out of Hollow Creek. The last clear memory I have is standing in the middle of Route 16 at 1 a.m., screaming at a pair of taillights, watching them shrink into the dark with my best friend still inside that truck. I didn't know his name yet. I didn't know he'd been planning this for weeks. I didn't know that somewhere in a folder in his glove box, there was already a photograph of both of us taken 3 weeks before we ever left home. To understand how I ended up alone on that road, you have to go back to the night we thought our car just died. October last year. My best friend Mara Hensley and I were driving from Ohio to Nashville for a concert. Cheap motel already booked at a place called the Black Lantern, backroads through Kentucky, because Mara hated the interstate at night. Somewhere past a sign reading Hollow Creek 9, MI, the dash lights flared red and the engine just quit. Not a slow death, a total shutdown, like someone had reached in and flipped a switch. "You just had it serviced," Mara said. "I know." Neither of us said the word stranded out loud. We didn't have to. A pickup slowed behind us within 4 minutes. Too fast, looking back, but at the time, it felt like luck. The man who stepped out looked like someone's dad. Mid-50s, quilted vest, a laminated card clipped to his visor that read Highway Angels Volunteer Roadside Assist. He introduced himself as Gary, said he drove this stretch every night on his own dime, said his daughter used to break down on roads just like this one, and that's why he started doing it. He didn't ask if we wanted help. He just started checking under the hood like it was already decided, the way a familiar neighbor would. "Battery's dead as a doornail," he said. "No signal out here either. Terrain swallows it. I can run you to the marathon station up on 16. My treat. Nothing about him felt wrong. That's what made it work. Mara got in first. I remember the truck smelled like coffee and pine air freshener. Ordinary, lived in. A church bulletin sat folded on the dash. A phone mount, empty. Small human details that told us this is a normal person. Gary talked about his daughter the whole ride. Said she just had a baby. Said he almost didn't stop for us tonight because he was tired, then felt guilty and turned around anyway. It was a good story. Later, I'd learn it was the same story, almost word for word, that another woman told police 2 counties over, 11 months earlier. But that night, it just made him seem like someone's father, someone's safe. The first crack came small. He passed the marathon station sign without slowing down. "Wasn't that it?" I asked. "Different ones closer, trust me," he said. "Easy, unbothered. Been doing this stretch for 6 years." Mara caught my eye in the side mirror's reflection. Neither of us said anything yet, because doubting a man who'd just been kind to you feels almost rude. That hesitation, I'd learn, is exactly what he was counting on. Then I saw it. Tucked half under the bench seat, a woman's cardigan, folded, not tossed. Beside it, a driver's license, face down. I didn't say a word. I reached over and squeezed Mara's hand 3 times, our old signal from middle school. "Get me out of here." She squeezed back once. She'd already seen the license too. "Actually," Mara said, voice bright and fast, "we'll just walk from here, get some air." Gary's hands stayed loose on the wheel. His voice dropped half a register, not louder, just flatter, colder. No sense walking. Bad things happen to women walking alone. I'd know. I've found a few. The truck turned off Route 16 without slowing, onto a gravel access road with a rusted sign. Former McKinley salvage, nitrogen monoxide trespassing. Rows of crushed, gutted car frames stretched into the dark like a graveyard for machines nobody buried properly. Mara threw her door open while the truck was still moving and screamed one word at me. Jump! I hit gravel hard, rolled into the ditch, and by the time I looked up, Gary already had Mara by the wrist, pulling her toward a shipping container at the back of the yard, the kind used for spare parts, not people. She fought. She screamed my name. I ran. Not because I was brave, because I knew one of us needed to reach the road, or neither of us would. A trucker named Deshaun Coley found me stumbling in his headlights, barefoot, incoherent, and got me into his cab without asking a single question. He called it in. I remember giving the dispatcher a road name I didn't actually know. The Hollow Creek Sheriff's Office had a unit there in 9 minutes. They found the salvage yard. They found Gary's truck, door open, engine still warm. They did not find Gary. They did not find Mara alive. Inside that shipping container, deputies found a corkboard bolted to the wall, organized like a project. Photographs, dates, license plates, routes, hand-drawn in marker, matching stretches of Route 16, Old Hanover Road, and 2 counties I'd never even driven through. And pinned near the top, dated 3 weeks before Mara and I ever left Ohio, a photograph of the 2 of us, taken from across a parking lot at the rest stop where we'd stopped to plan our route. Our car hadn't died that night. It had been sabotaged days earlier, at that very rest stop, while we sat inside eating gas station sandwiches, completely unaware we were being chosen. They never found Gary. They never found a body. Case file 4471B remains open at the Hollow Creek Sheriff's Office to this day. 3 weeks after the search ended, an envelope arrived at my apartment. No return address, postmarked from a town that doesn't appear on any current map. Inside was a single photo. Mara, alive, sitting in a diner booth I didn't recognize, looking straight into the camera with an expression that wasn't fear. It was closer to an apology. On the back, handwriting that wasn't hers, wasn't Gary's, wasn't anyone investigators could match to a name. You were supposed to be first. I don't know what that means. I've never wanted to know badly enough to ask out loud. I don't drive at night anymore, not even under streetlights. And every October, without fail, one more envelope arrives. I've stopped opening them. I just add them to the drawer, and I try not to think about the fact that somewhere, in a folder I'll never see, there's already a photograph of whoever comes next.
I still don't know how long she'd been standing there before Claire saw her. My name is Ethan. 8 months ago, my girlfriend Claire and I drove into the Colorado mountains for a weekend getaway. What happened on the way home is why I sleep with the lights on now, and why Claire barely speaks about that night at all. We left the cabin near Silverthorne a little after Claire was half asleep against the window when the GPS rerouted us off the highway onto a narrow gravel road cutting through dense pine forest. No signs, no lights, just dirt swallowed by trees. and a screen promising to save us 40 minutes. Something in my chest told me to turn around. I didn't listen. 20 minutes in, Claire's hand closed around my arm. "Ethan, stop the car." A woman stood between the trees, white dress soaked dark at the hem, head hanging forward like she was listening to something buried underground. I eased off the gas without meaning to. Every instinct told me to check on her. Something older told me not to. I pressed the accelerator instead. Neither of us looked back. 5 minutes later, Claire made a sound I'd never heard from her before. The woman was standing beside the road again. Same dress except torn now at the shoulder. Hair fallen forward over where her face should have been. There was no trail connecting where we'd seen her the first time to where she stood now. No path. No time. Just forest. And her. Patient as something with all night to spend. "That's not possible," I said. More to myself than to Claire. She wasn't listening. She was staring at the woman's hands. 10 minutes after that, she appeared a third time. Close enough now that I could see her fingers laced together, not folded like prayer, but twisted wrong at the joints. The way hands look after they've healed crooked. My phone screen went black in the cuffholder. Claire's died the same second. No warning, no drain, just gone. And the fuel gauge, 3/4 full when we left the cabin, began sliding toward empty like something invisible had opened a valve. "Ethan." Claire's voice had dropped to almost nothing. Someone's sitting behind me." I checked the mirror. Empty seat. But the leather looked pressed down, the way it does right after someone stood up from it. "There's nothing there," I said, hating how much I needed that to be true. I didn't stop. Some part of me understood that stopping was the one thing this road existed to make us do. The trees thickened until the headlights barely cut through them, and somewhere past the tree line came a single drawn-out sound. Not quite an owl, that never repeated. The silence after it had weight, pressing against the glass like the forest itself was holding its breath with us. That's when we saw the cabin, a ranger station half swallowed by brush. One window boarded, the other black as pitch. The fuel light had come on. We didn't have a choice. Inside smelled like wet paper and something underneath it. Coppery. Dust lay thick enough to hold our footprints. A radio sat on a shelf, its dial rusted mid-turn, like someone had stopped searching for a station and never tried again. Claire found the wall first. Photographs, dozens of them, pinned edge to edge, ordinary couples. The kind of pictures pulled off someone's phone. Under every one, in the same cramped handwriting, 6 words. "Never stop for the woman." Beneath the photos, on a warped shelf, I found a logbook, its pages swollen with damp, entries going back decades. The last one was written in a different, shakier hand, like it had been scrawled in a hurry. "She's closer every time. Don't let her finish counting." Neither of us said anything. We ran. Our car was still there, but the driver's door hung open. Small, bare, muddy footprints led from the tree line straight to the back seat and stopped, like whatever made them had climbed in and never climbed back out. Neither of us remembered leaving that door open, and neither of us said out loud what the size of those prints meant. I don't remember starting the engine. I remember it catching, against all reason, on a tank that should have been dry. I remember Claire screaming for me to drive, and in the mirror, the white shape standing exactly where the footprints ended, close enough now that I could see she had no face left to hide. Then nothing, just fluorescent light and a nurse asking if I knew my name. Colorado State Patrol found us unconscious on the shoulder of Route 16 just before sunrise, nearly 9 miles from where I remembered turning onto that gravel road. Claire didn't wake for 3 days. When she did, she wasn't entirely the same. The detective who took my statement, a woman named Reyes, didn't write a single word down while I talked. When I finished, she set her pen aside like she needed both hands free. "Ethan, that road's been closed 18 years. Landslide took the whole southern slope. There's a gate out there older than you are. Chain rusted solid. They sent a team anyway, because I wouldn't stop asking. They found the gate exactly as she described, locked, undisturbed, no tire tracks within 100 yards, no cabin, no wall of photographs, no logbook, just forest that hadn't been touched in a generation. Only one detail lined up. 18 years ago, the last people ever reported on that road were a young couple driving home from a mountain trip. The case is still open at the Hollow Creek Sheriff's Office. I didn't think much of the file number until months later, alone at my kitchen table at a.m., matching it against a motel receipt from that same night. The Black Lantern Motel, room 214. The last 3 digits of the case file. The same 3 digits as our room. I've never told Claire that part. She's different now. She doesn't talk about the road, the cabin, or the woman. But some afternoons, she goes quiet mid-sentence, staring at a closed door like she's waiting for something to knock. Once I asked her what she remembered from the back seat that night, expecting her to change the subject like she always does. She didn't. "There wasn't anyone in the back seat, Ethan," she said, calm in a way that scared me more than screaming would have. "I was in the front with you the whole time. I was the one driving. I know exactly what I saw in that mirror in the last second before everything went black. I've just never told her whose face it was."
The blood came back every single time. We wiped it out with a beach towel on the side of Route 16. At 2 in the morning, hands shaking so bad I could barely wring the fabric out. We closed the trunk. We opened it again 30 seconds later. It was full again, warm, fresh, like it had never left. "My name's Danny, my wife's name is Rachel, and I need you to understand, nothing that happened to us that night makes sense. Not even now, 4 months later, sitting in my own kitchen with the doors locked and the lights on. Let me back up. We'd spent the weekend at a cabin off Old Hanover Road, way up past where the cell signal dies. Rachel's idea, a reset before she started a new job. We left around 10 at night because I hate driving those switchbacks in daylight traffic. Bad call in hindsight. 20 minutes in, the check engine light came on. Then the whole dashboard flickered, like the car had hiccuped. Then it just died. Rolled to a stop in the middle of nowhere. Engine ticking, headlights the only light for miles. That's when we saw the farmhouse. It sat back off the road, half swallowed by dead cornfield. One window glowing yellow like it had been waiting for us. Rachel didn't want to walk up. I convinced her. Big mistake, small choice. That's how these things always start, isn't it? A man opened the door before we even knocked. Mid-50s, cardigan, hair combed wet. "Car trouble?" he said, smiling like he already knew the answer. His wife appeared behind him, then 2 grown kids, maybe college-aged. All 4 of them lined up in the doorway like a photograph. All 4 of them smiling at exactly the same time. They invited us in. Offered coffee. The house was spotless, too spotless, like nobody actually lived there. Rachel nudged my leg under the table when she noticed the clock on the wall. 4:17. I checked my phone. It was 11:52. I glanced at another clock in the hallway. 4:17, a third one above the stove. 4:17. Every clock in that house frozen on the exact same minute. And nobody in that family seemed to notice or care or blink. I started counting how many times the mother blinked while she talked to Rachel about the drive up the mountain. I counted to 40. "You two should eat something," the father said, sliding a plate toward us. Neither of them touched their own food. Neither of them picked up a fork. They just watched us eat, 4 sets of eyes, 4 unmoving mouths curved into the same patient smile. Rachel's hand found mine under the table and squeezed once, our signal. "The one we made up years ago for we need to leave right now." I told them our phone was finally getting signal, that a tow truck was coming, that we'd wait outside so we didn't dirty their nice floors. The father nodded slowly. "Route 16 gets strange at night," he said. "Be careful what you carry with you." We didn't run. Running would have felt like admitting we'd seen something. We walked fast, controlled, until the porch light disappeared behind us, and the second it did, the car started on the first try, like it had never broken down at all. We didn't talk for 6 miles. Then Rachel said quiet, "Did you smell anything in there?" I had, underneath the coffee and the clean carpet, something copper, something wet. That's when the smell followed us into the car. I pulled over on the shoulder, hazards on, nothing around us but tree line and fog. Rachel saw it first. In the side mirror, a dark stain spreading. Out from under the trunk, dripping onto the asphalt, steaming slightly in the cold air. We stood there for a full minute before either of us moved to open it. Empty, completely empty. Our suitcase, the spare tire, nothing else. But the entire floor of the trunk was slick with blood, thick enough to pool at the edges, warm enough that I could see faint steam rising off it in the mountain air. No body, no wound. No explanation. We wiped it clean, closed it, reopened it 40 seconds later out of pure dread. Full again. We tried 3 more times. Same result every time, like the trunk was resetting itself the moment the lid shut. Rachel started crying. Not loud, just this steady, terrified crying. And I remember thinking clearly, calmly, the way you think right before you completely lose it, something is in the car with us, and it isn't in the trunk anymore. We drove the last 9 miles to the Black Lantern, motel doing 80 in a 35 zone. I kept checking the rear view, and every few minutes, the passenger seat behind Rachel would dip, like weight had settled onto it, then release. We never turned around to look. We'd both silently agreed on that somehow, without saying a word. The motel clerk took one look at us, soaked in sweat. Rachel still crying, me white-knuckling the check-in pen, and asked if we needed him to call Hollow Creek Sheriff's Office. We said yes before we even understood why we were saying yes. 2 deputies showed up within 20 minutes. Older one introduced himself, said his name was Deputy Marsh, said he'd had a call from that address before. He didn't elaborate. He looked at our trunk, clean now, bone dry, not a trace of anything, and he looked at us for a long, long time. "There's no farmhouse on Old Hanover Road," he said finally. "Not one that's occupied anyway. Burned down in '91, whole family died in that fire. Never rebuilt." Rachel went pale. I felt the floor tilt under me. Here's the part that ends it, the part one still can't explain. 3 days later, Deputy Marsh called us again. Forensics had gone out to the farmhouse ruins after our statement. "Routine follow-up," he said. Under what was left of the collapsed floorboards, they found something that hadn't been logged in any file from the original 1991 fire. A second body, recent, weeks old, maybe less. No ID, no missing person match, nothing in the system. But here's what broke something. The medical examiner said the blood type recovered from the scene matched a sample lifted from our trunk. The one the motel clerk had swabbed before the deputies even arrived that night. We had never been back to that farmhouse. Not once, before or since. Deputy Marsh closed the call by reading me a case number for our own report. Case file 4417. And told me almost as an afterthought that it was the 4th file in the last 2 years connected to that same stretch of Old Hanover Road. We haven't driven north of Hollow Creek since. And some nights, I still check the trunk before I go to sleep. Not because I expect to find anything, because some nights, for just a second when I open it, I still smell copper, writing.